Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones. And by the way, I know this is 2 drops in one day. Back in the olden days when I used to listen to radios, some of the rock stations and pop stations would have like 2 for Tuesday. Well, this is 2 for Monday. 2 drops, one day. 2 separate topics. I didn't want to stretch on one super long drop. I wanted to kind of partition them a little bit. So we're running both in the same day. This is about positions of need. I'm going to go over a couple positions of need, stress a few things. We'll be in and out of this one pretty quickly. A lot quicker than the one from earlier today. All right, so what are the positions of need? Quarterback. I know they got Gio Lopez, and I'm intrigued by that pickup. They have Bryce Baker, the true freshman, who enrolled early. Max Johnson, I'm not going to pencil him in or count on him as being a candidate to get on the field until we know he's 100% healthy and fully cleared, and that hasn't been the case. Torrey Newkirk, freshman from the Tidewater area, he arrives in June, but you need more. Right now, they have no quarterback who's ever thrown a pass or taken a snap as a member of a Power 4 football team. It would be wise, I think, to bring someone in, tell them, hey, compete for the job. Win the thing if you can. But if not, understand you might be behind this guy, but we're going to need you, and you're 1 snap away from being the starting quarterback. So if Carolina gave Gio Lopez $2 million, which is the number that we believe is accurate or close to accurate, they're going to have to pay for a backup, because the situation now is a guy's going to look at that room and say, well, they just paid this dude $2 million. He's probably coming in to start. At least they think he is. You got Bryce Baker, who was rated higher than Drake May and Sam Howell coming out of high school. When I say rated higher, in the Rivals 250, he was at a higher spot in the Rivals 250 than Drake or Sam were. I'm not saying he's better or anybody thinks he's better. A lot of that has to do with the kind of class that you're in, but he was still rated higher. But he's in that same vein as Drake and Sam. Tremendous talent. And a year away from possibly being the starting quarterback at North Carolina. So you look at that room, you say, okay, well, that guy's the future. This guy's the now. What do you want from me exactly? Please tell me again. And a Belichick or Lombardi would say, look, we need a quarterback who's taken snaps and been around a P5 program. Got a little tread on the tire. Someone who thinks they can come in here, and if you can win the starting job, then by all means, dude, go get it. But if not, be a backup ready to start at any minute. We believe in you, but we can't play 2 at one time. That's what's unique about quarterback. And they're going to have to pay him. For someone who's capable of being a body in that room, being more than just a body in that room, they have to be capable of playing some. Carolina's going to have to pay. So the drop earlier was about being frugal and being careful and allocating money and staying married to the value assignment for each player. Here is one of those situations where they may look at, Johnny Johnson from XYZ state, and he's maybe thrown 80 passes in a Power 4 game before. But he's a redshirt sophomore. He's been in a program. He's someone who could be a starter down the road, maybe win the job this year. We're going to have to overpay him. Our assigned value for a guy like that may be $7.85. But we're going to have to probably pay about $9.50 or $10 to get him because of the circumstances. I think they'll do that. In fact, I would be shocked if they didn't. So I believe they're going to bring in another quarterback, and they're going to have to maybe overpay a little bit. But everybody in that room will understand. I don't think overpaying quarterbacks is usually going to ruffle too many feathers. They also need to replace Bo Atkinson at defensive end. And I say this understanding that there are bodies there, and I think that they feel pretty good about what they have. Otherwise, they would have overpaid for Bo to come back if that's what it was. And I don't 100% know what it was. Again, minimal access, not as many lines in the water at the Keenan Football Center now as we had several months ago. So we're still working to establish that. But it appears it was a situation where there were two assigned values, one by Carolina and another by the outside camp. That's what it appears to be. And I know there's some other things I don't want to get into, not in this forum. I would think, even though I know and believe that they have some good bodies that can play defensive end, I would believe that if they're not 100% sold on the depth there, and if they don't believe that they have a first-team All-ACC type guy, they're going to have to go out and get somebody. Maybe not a first-team All-ACC guy, because he's going to cost you more to bring in than it probably would have kept to keep Bo, if that's what it was. I do think, though, they'll look at some defensive ends. They might need a running back for depth. They got 5, I believe, scholarship ones. Probably would like to have a 6th. And they absolutely 100% need defensive tackles. If I were you, the two things I would pay most attention to here in the next week or so, do they add another quarterback, a second quarterback from the portal? I think it's yes. How many defensive tackles do they add? Interior defensive linemen. I think they need to add perhaps 4. And it's going to cost money. Linemen cost money. Right now they have Leroy Jackson, redshirt freshman. Rodney Laura, redshirt sophomore. Rodney's been around now. Got on the field for a few snaps. C.J. Mims, transfer from East Carolina. Not a ton of experience. He's a junior. Peter Pazanski, who redshirted last year, came in needing to kind of grow into the position. Big guy, needed to get in the weight room. Need to trim some things off and get in the weight room. I know that last year's staff absolutely loved his motor, and they figured he's got to get his body right. If his body gets right, he can help. So those are your 4 scholarship ones they have right now that I would say are dudes that would have any shot at getting on the field at this time. They have 3 true freshmen interior defensive linemen coming in. And I have a hard time ever believing or associating at this time of year a true freshman as a get on the field guy. It's the hardest position group of the line of scrimmage, both offensive and defensive line, to play right away when you get to college. It's very, very difficult. So they need about 3, at least, maybe 4, because these 3 freshmen will give them 7. I think that they probably a lot of coaches want to try to run, 6 out there that they totally trust. But you've also got to deal with the fact there are going to be injuries, and that room's going to shrink over the course of time. So you need dudes out there. You need guys that understand what to do, embrace the physicality, and also are big enough, strong enough, confident enough to handle their roles. Gap technique is a very, very challenging thing, especially when you're a young guy and you're not super strong yet, and you're not 100% sure about reading certain things. That's how you get blown off the line of scrimmage. So they did bring in someone from Maryland the other day, and it comes in, we start checking it out. Okay, this is legit. And 13 seconds later, he signed with Texas. That's the nature of the portal. But that young man hadn't really practiced a lot in the spring, is my understanding, and didn't play a ton, so he was sort of a piece. But I think 3 or 4 defensive tackles, so keep an eye on that. It's going to cost money. So a lot of the people, and this goes back to the pod from earlier today, the drop from earlier today, people are concerned that, they haven't been throwing money around. They've got to be very strategical, along with frugal and careful. But the strategical kind of lines up with careful about where money goes. So they have enough to get who they need. I would think they would be looking at picking up a couple of starter quality defensive tackles. The 36,000-foot view of Carolina football right now is that that's what they need. It's going to cost a lot of money. So you go out and spend a lot of money on another backup quarterback. You spend a lot of money on a couple of interior defensive linemen, and then a decent chunk on maybe 1 or 2 more, because you need to roll bodies in and out of there. I think that's probably where they're going here. Like I said, maybe a running back, maybe a defensive end. But the focus point, I think, and what I would do if I was a fan, is let's see who the next quarterback is going to be. Quarterbacks are always exciting because it's a quarterback. But pay attention to defensive tackle. I think there's going to be a lot of activity there. Let me know what you think. What else would you look for in the portal if you were Michael Lombardi, his staff, and Bill Belichick? If you're excited about where the Tar Heels are headed with respect to the portal, and they got a lot of room to make up, click like. If you're excited about portal season in general and that you don't have to cover it like us, so you can just kind of dip your toe in that water every once in a while instead of being fully enveloped by it, go ahead and click like. And if you love all of our videos and you are not a subscriber yet, subscribe. We're still giving away freebies, guys. We gave away a couple from YouTube. We gave away some from Facebook. We're trying to get to 25,000 YouTube subscribers by the time fall practice starts at the end of July, I think is when it is. And we'll give away more freebies. We may just do some random ones between now and then as well. But you can only be selected if you subscribe. And let your Tar Heel friends know we are here. Big week. Basketball portal closes Tuesday, but guys can still come in after that. But we've done stuff on that. I don't want to go in that direction right now. Football portal closes April 30th, and dudes can – that doesn't mean they stop coming in. You can still acquire players. This is an acquisitions business now. It's changed a lot the last few years. Anyway, I'm AJ, and I appreciate you guys stopping by.